Hello, and welcome to Steph Udall. I am, currently, Steph. And I swear I was going to make a pretty merman for MerMay this year, but then this happened.
Steve, le Poisson Steve.
Le Poisson Steve got firmly lodged in my brain. And after seeing this from a fursuit maker, I had no choice but to make the silliest doll I've ever made. But I'm not alone. Several of my friends here on YouTube are celebrating MerMay with me. More about that at the end of the video. Now let's make a fish. I thought this would be the perfect time to use one of the headless bodies in my stock box as a base, and I'll build the main body out of EVA foam and cover everything with this orange fleece. Apologies for the body horror, but I'm using my Dremel to cut the body into pieces, separating the legs and the arms. I clean up and round out the edges, and drill some holes so I can reattach the pieces with wire. Next, I fill in the gaps with hot glue and aluminum foil. I want the feet to be a teeny bit bigger, so I cut out some 1mm foam soles and glue them to the feet. I cover the feet in super light air dry clay, being careful not to obstruct the joints. And I decided to add a layer of clay to the torso as well, just to make everything a bit more secure. I made this sketch of roughly how big I want the fish body to be. Off camera, I took some spare packing paper, aluminum foil, and masking tape and made this mock-up of the body. Now I'll cover it in cling film and use the masking tape method to make a pattern for my foam pieces. Since it's symmetrical, I'll only have to make one side. Once I'm happy with the shapes and I've made registration marks, I cut the layer of cling film and tape off of the form and cut apart my pattern pieces. I'll be transferring the pieces onto some thick paper. I also cut out the tail from my sketch to use as the tail pattern piece. To make the notches for the registration marks, I used my 1mm hole punch and then cut out the rest of the notch. Now I can trace all of the pattern pieces onto 5mm EVA foam with a silver Sharpie. And with some editing magic, all the foam pieces are cut out. I tape them together around the doll body to see how it looks. The size looks pretty good, but I want to adjust the leg holes a bit, making them a little bit smaller and moving them back a little bit. I also decided I wanted to use 3mm foam instead of 5. Editing magic round 2. And now I can start gluing the pieces together, lining up the registration marks and using masking tape to hold the pieces in place. I wasn't able to get hold of contact adhesive, so I'm just using Uhu glue. Partway through, I decided it would be a good idea to glue some pieces of 1mm foam across some of the seams for extra support. I score some lines in the foam tail pieces before gluing them together. Once both halves of the fish body are fully assembled, I bevel the edges with my Dremel. I also smooth the edges of the tail piece. I start to glue the two halves of the fish body together at the center bottom, and I'll leave it aside to dry for now. It's going to be a lot easier to get the leg and arm fleece on the body before I add the foam, so let's get those sorted. I fold the pieces good sides in, sew up the seams, and then flip them right side out. I didn't account for the thickness of the fabric in my seam allowance, but I'm just about able to get those arm and leg pieces on. Now I can slide the doll body into the foam structure and finish gluing the halves together and attaching the tail. It's all coming together. While that dries, I'll sew little booties for the feet and little mittens for the hands. I'll also sew the tail pieces together, and I'll sew the two body pieces together at just the top and front seam for now. Once the glue is all dry, I carefully slip the body piece on, threading the arms through the holes. I'll sew up the bottom seams with a ladder stitch, which is the only stitch I'll be using from here on out. I'll put on the tail piece and attach it to the body. Then I do the same with the little booties and the mittens. I ended up stuffing those with a little bit of leftover yarn fluff. And finally, I can attach the arms and legs to the body. And now, he looks like a giant goldfish cracker has sprung arms and legs. So to transform him into Steve, I gotta make his eyes and mouth. I want the eyes to be about the size of my earplugs case here. So I roll out 2 balls of the same air dry clay I used before. I carefully pat them down to give them a flattened bottom while keeping a rounded top, and I use water to help smooth out the clay. I let them dry overnight and then paint them white. They really looked like mushrooms for a while. I seal them in with matte Mod Podge. Then I start to sketch out the pupils. And once I'm happy with the shape, I fill them in with black. Steve has simple black and white eyes, but I wanted to have a little fun and give them some dimension. So I'm adding some blobby reflections in dark blue to complement his orangeness. Then I add some star catch lights as well as a few extra dots for some sparkle. Normally, you wouldn't want to make the catch lights symmetrical, but in this case, I think it looks really cute. I give the eyes a couple more coats of matte Mod Podge to seal it all in. I cut his little inverted V mouth out of black felt and pin it in place. I glue it on in sections and keep the pins in place while it dries. Now all I have to do is glue on those big ol' eyeballs, and Steve is finally done. I hope you can forgive me for once again forgoing the traditional mermaid for MerMay. I was simply compelled to make this daft little orange fish with arms and legs. I had a lot of fun figuring out how to put him together, and I hope he makes you smile. I giggle pretty much every time I look at him, it's great. What do you think of my take on Le Poisson Steve? Is this the first you've heard of him, or have you too had the song stuck in your head off and on for a month on a loop? Let me know in the comments down below. Please, please, please go check out the other far lovelier mermaid dolls from my friends. Lady Dynamite Creates, Tiffany's Tiny Things, I Could Do That DIY, Jackie O, and Dolly Pop. Everyone did a fantastic job. Our friends Electric Bunny and Fairyman dolls weren't able to finish on time, but please do keep an eye out for their dolls in the near future. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and click on the bell icon and turn on all notifications so you'll know whenever I post a new video. These are all my socials, which will be linked down below. I'm most active on Instagram, and if you really like what I do and you want to buy me a coffee or help me afford more supplies, you can find a link to my Ko-fi tip jar in the description below, or you can click on the super thanks button right below this video. And until next time, bye!